Hello, dear friends. Dear friends, I'm just going to explain it to you a beautiful sonnet that is known as a kind of a political sonnet or a political satire by P.B.Shelley, a very important poet of the second generation of Romantics. This poet was born in 1792, and this poet just died in actually 1822 by drowning while he was returning in his boat after spending certain days with his own friends in a just a river, you can say that. The sonnet that I'm to explain explain was actually written in the year 1819. That the title itself does suggest England in 1819. In the August of 1819, Peterloo massacre took place. What happened actually, large number of the farmers with their wives, their kids actually gathered to protest, to make a kind of a peaceful protest against the corn laws. But on the orders of the authorities, the soldiers, the army of England actually attacked these peaceful protesters, in which as many as good number of people were killed, as well as a large number of the people sustained serious injuries. And when it happened at that time, P.B. Shelley, means Percy Bysshe Shelley, was not in England, but he was in Italy at Pisa, where he spent the last 4 or 5 years of his own life. There, when he got to know about this shocking, shocking incident and this shocking happening, just just he was out of peace, or he was absolutely angry, or you can say that he flew off the handle. He was so much angry. He was so much angry that this poem came out of him, that shows his anger. It shows his, you can say, his rebellion. This shows his revolt. See how how he's been condemning and flaying the king and the authority of that time. Even he does not spare the churches, and he severely lambasting the churches for being silent, and for doing nothing particularly for the good and welfare of the common people. See how is he taking the authority, the kings and the system to task. Let's begin this very particular poem that has rhyme scheme of AB, 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 CD, CD, CC, CD. And this poem is actually divided into two parts, sestet and octave. Sestet of 6 lines and octave of 8 lines. Absolutely contrary or opposite to Petrarchan sonnet. That is generally divided into two parts, octave and sestet, but this is divided into also two parts, but sestet and octave. Now let's look at the text and understand it line by line. An old, mad, see the use of the words, see negative just adjectives one after the other being hurled by the poet at the king of that time, that was William the Third. See, old, mad, gone out of the mind, blind. Why? Because could not see the sufferings of the people, despised, hated, dying since he was in old age. He was just going to die, or here just Shelley is expecting him to die any day, any moment, any time. So he says, see, an old, mad, blind, despised and dying king means here he is straightway targeting George the Third. I just, my bad that I just said William the Third. Actually, George the Third was the king at that time, and here is calling him old, calling him mad, calling him despised. Why? Because he was hated by the people. Despised means hated. People did not like this king who had gone out of his own mind in his old age, and to some extent he had also become blind. Why? Because he could not see the trouble and suffering and problems of the people of his own country who were in great trouble. So if a king is unable to understand the suffering and the problem of his own people, that king would definitely be a blind king. And that's why here Shelley is calling him blind. See the second line of the poem. Princes, even he is not sparing his children, dregs of their dull race. So he says that if the king is blind, despised, a kind of a worst king, there, his sons are also the same. He says why? Because they descend from that king. So if they descend from that king, they are even worse than their father, dull race, who flow through the public scorn, hatred, mud from muddy spring. So see, he uses word mud particularly for the princes, and muddy spring means the source. This muddy spring, actually the king. So he says that this very particular king is just like a muddy well. A muddy well, just a well with the contaminated water, and these princes are just like the muddy water flowing out of that muddy well. So you can understand how is P.B.Shelley painting the portrait of the king and the princes of that time. Is openly and outrightly calling them bloody, corrupt, merciless, and not better than the madmen. And he's calling them the muddy water, absolutely just worthless kind of the king. So here he is outrightly rejecting the just king and the princes of that time. And he says, see, why does he call them what? All these. Sorry, why does he call them by all these names? Why? Because rulers who neither see, you can say that, just feel or see, or feel means understand, nor know. So he says, neither they know about the problems of the country, nor understand the problem of the country, nor do anything for the betterment or for the upliftment of the countrymen. That's why here he calls them blind. That's why he calls them muddy water and muddy spring. See, but leech like, they are the bloody suckers, he calls them, but leech like to their fainting country. See, the country is personified as a human being fainting because of being greatly exploited. So he says that this king with his own son is just like leech. This king with his own son is just like a bloody leech. A leech, you know that sticks to the body of the animals and goes sucking until and unless it goes absolutely it becomes absolutely full of blood and goes blind in blood and then drops down dead. In the same manner, this king is talking about George III, talking about his sons who were doing nothing but only and only leading a life of luxury on on the wealth of the country or at the expense of the country. They were making unmindful use of the resources of the country, or they were exploiting the resources of the country without doing little for the betterment and good for the people who were suffering, who were starving, who were even not in the position to till their land and grow and till their land and grew grew crops and could satisfy the hunger of their belly. See this. Till they, so see, he says this king with his own son is sucking the country, sucking, exploiting all the resources of the country, just like the leech, till they drop. So, until and unless this king and his sons will become absolutely full, blind in blood, without a blow. So they will drop only after sucking, only after just making the country dry, means only after just bankrupting the country. A people starved, people here state, the country starved and stabbed, brutalized in the untilled field, untilled, uncultivated. So he says that the condition of England is not better than the condition of the starved country. Means country is starving, means people of the country in general are starving. Here, just a people starved means here people stands for what the people of the country, the nation. Stabbed means brutalized, exploited. So see, here he says that this king, this bloody old blind king who is just about to die with his corrupt sons is with his corrupt son is only and only sucking the resources of the country for his benefits. He is only and only just a self-centered kind of a king who does not think a little about the problems of the people, does not do anything but instead orders the authority to attack and hurt and harm and even kill. See this. An army, and now here he shifts his attention or he shifts his attack from from the royalty to the army of the country. He says an army whom liberty side and pray, and he says and the army of the country is also doing nothing but instant. What? On one hand, killing the freedom and liberty of the people, on the other hand harming. He calls the army two-edged sword by using metaphor. Why? Because on one hand, killing what? Killing and harming the people, and killing the liberty of the people. On the other hand, they are harming their own people without realizing this. That's why two is sword, he says, makes as two-edged sword to all who willed. Golden and sanguine law, and law on one hand, golden on the other hand, sanguine, bloody, which tempt and slay. So he says, on the other hand, law, neither the, is targeting certain authorities, targeting first the royalty, then he targets the just army, after that the law, after that the Senate, just responsible for making the law and implementation of the law. But none of these authorities, not even a single one of these actually authorities were just authority was doing anything good for the betterment of the people of the country, but instead all of them had their just contribution in the sufferings and problems and complication of the people of the country. See what he says, that the golden and sanguine laws which tempt and slay, on one hand it tempts, on the other hand slay, kills. Religion, now he targets religion. He is not in the mood of sparing any authority, and he says religion Christless, godless. A book sealed means he's talking about the Bible. He says that the new version of the religion of Christianity, or this Christian religion, is absolutely Christless. Why did Christ shed his blood for? He shed his blood particularly for the people, for the betterment of the people. But what are the followers of Jesus Christ doing? They are dipping their hand in the blood of the innocent people. They are doing nothing but simply and simply what? Trying to support, or trying to uphold the just rank and position and value of the king. That king who has become what? Bloody, who is selfish, who is blind, who is mad, who cannot understand, who cannot see the sufferings of the people, cannot understand the sufferings of the people, and can do nothing for for elevating the suffering of the people, or for elevating the pain of his countrymen. So how can just religion be, how can this religion be the religion of Christ, God? A book sealed Bible is just like a book sealed. Why? Because there is no application of the principles and the gospels of the Bible here. Instead, they have a bloody kind of a nexus with the king and the authorities, and together all these authorities are only and only exploiting and brutalizing the people in a callous manner. See, a Senate, those who are responsible for making the laws, means parliamentarian, Senate means parliament, times, worst statute means law, unrepealed, unchanged. Repeal means actually to change or to abrogate, are graves. He says all these are just like graves. They are breathing their last. He says that the king is just about to die. Just this churches without God and Christ, all of them are in their grave, means they are just going to die. These all systems of the country are just are just on their last leg, means they are just going to finish, they are just going to die. And see, the poem ends. The poem ends as at a positive note with the positive note with the just a concluding couplet. See this. What does the couplet say? A senate times worst statute unrepelled are graves from which glorious means nice, phantom ghost means a spirit may burst. How will come force? Just it will come by a great it will come with a great force and power to illumine the bright and tempestuous day. So the poem ends with a positive note, or at a positive note, that fine, all the system, the concerned authority, from top to the bottom, there is corruption. There is corruption everywhere in the country, from the top to the bottom. Like the king is corrupted, just his sons are corrupted, army corrupted, just churches corrupted, senate corrupted, but all of them are just going to die. All of them are in their graves. And definitely just this visionary poet P.B.Shelley is greatly hopeful that very soon a new system, a new just organization, a new king or a new authority will come into existence, and that authority will absolutely be different in comparison to, or in comparison with this existing system of the country that is just going to die. And that system, he is very much hopeful, just as the poet Shelley is very much hopeful in his best poem, that is Ode to the West Wind, that if winter comes, can spring be far behind. It means if this corrupt system of the country is just going to collapse, what is far away? A new day, a new bright sunny morning is far away. No, a new bright sunny morning is not far away. Very soon there will be peace, there will be harmony. People of the country will prosper and live in prosperity. So that day is not far away. Why? Because this corrupt system of the country is just going to die, just going to be finished. And with that, a new dawn on the horizon of England will appear, and all the problems of the country will disappear. So I hope, my dear learner, this explanation of mine will help you understand this beautiful sonnet of P.B.Shelley, that is called a political sonnet or a political satire. Why? Because Shelley is straightway targeting just a concerned system, the government, and all the mechanism of the government that absolutely or fully responsible for the measurable state of the country and the countrymen. That's it in this video, my dear learners.